Hey everyone, Malphite here, back with some LEC roster changes, roster moves. Sheep Esports recently had a live stream, almost 2 hour long live stream, where they were talking about some very interesting LEC leaks, moves, and speculations. And I decided I will make a summary. So I wrote down very interesting things about each of the teams and some players and so on, and I will give it to you as a summary right now, so that in case you didn't see the live stream or you didn't even know about it, here you will be able to get all of it, all the most important stuff very, very quickly. And so many of these are so interesting that I'll probably even make a shorter separate videos about each of these. So let's just get right into it. Starting with Team Vitality, we know VTO was replaced by Chayek. There is a slight chance that VTO will actually go to Heretics, but it's been said that this is quite unlikely. They are also trying other mid laners, but I'll mention that later. And also, I think Niski was a mid laner considered for Vitality, but then Chayek ended up being promoted. Nako was their first choice, and this promotion was already a done deal quite some time ago. Photon might still end up with the team, so he is considered for Giant X and possibly Rogue as well. We'll see how these teams, how things will go. VTO will probably end up in the LFL, with again a very slight chance to end up in Heretics, as I mentioned already. And the Heretics mid laner, if not VTO, if not Niski potentially, they're also looking at players like Serin or Kamilu, which are some rookie prospects from minor leagues. Vitality is also cutting their spending a lot. They have been known as one of the teams in the league who spend a lot of money on their players. All the big super rosters of players for the past years pretty much failed, and this year they really decided to cut their spending, so they're going very budget and they're going with their academy players. That's it for Team Vitality. Also, I kind of mentioned stuff about other teams as well, but we are moving on to Team BDS. Adam will probably not get a team. It just seems that his attitude has not been very well received, and although some teams have considered Adam, I think SK Gaming considered Adam, then they picked Genax over Adam. They also considered, SK Gaming also considered Photon. For SK, Rahel is very likely, but not yet confirmed. Another player they tried was Kedui from BDS Academy, but Rahel performed very well as an AD carry, so he's most likely confirmed. Luon not confirmed, but could also stay unless SK will manage to find a let's say better replacement. There's also been an interesting thing about SK, mentioned that SK players have been getting benched salary for all the time they're not playing. So basically, since they didn't make it to Worlds, since they left the LEC tournament, they started getting paid a bench salary, and this is usually what happens to players only when they get benched. But SK has this contract clause that the players, once they are still in the team but they are not actively playing, they are getting their benched salary. So this is really interesting. I think only SK Gaming is doing this, and I think it applies for Niski and Isma as well right now, because they're not playing, right? They're in the off season. So we'll see what's gonna happen with Niski. But up next we have Team Heretics. Now, Team Heretics really tried to get Blabrov. It was their first option in the support, and in the end they managed to get Stand, and that was their second option. So they are probably still pretty happy with this. Stand also tried out for another LEC team, but we do not know which team this was. And their mid lane is not decided, so it's not that it has not been released. They are still trying out different mid laners, or I don't know if they're doing tryouts, but maybe just, trying to figure out based on the market and so on. Shio had also tryouts for KC and from GX, but GX was most interested in him, and he was also not GX. He had offers from KC and GX, but the Heretics were the most interested in him, and they were also the first choice for Shio. And 113, who ended up going to Team BDS, had also offers from Giant X. So it seems a lot of these teams are interested in many players. They're trying to see what's available, and they're trying to kind of build something together. It's pretty interesting. So like seeing into the behind the scenes. This is something that we didn't really know for the past years, but now the leaks are really coming in, and we can start to see that. Next up is Fnatic. Fnatic is a bit strange because they still aren't really in the off season. So they are still trying to figure things out, but already Oscar and Razor confirmed. Humanoid will most likely stay. So for all the people saying to get Humanoid out, I mean, he would have to go to Heretics, and that's not happening, right? He's still a really good mid lane despite everything. So Humanoid is very likely to stay. It's likely that one player will be changed. At least one player, that is, but two players are unlikely. So either we will see change in Noah or change in June, and potentially, depending on how late Fnatic actually enters the offseason, they could run it back with this roster. We do not know yet, but based on what is available on the market and what players Fnatic could actually get, we could see a change in either Noah or June. Those are the changes for Fnatic, and also some staff changes, most likely because obvious reasons Fnatic fans are not happy, but there is still the slight chance that the roster stays the same. News for G2: Skewmont, obviously replacing Yike. He had the most offers out of all the players in the whole LEC. I think GX, Heretics, BDS, KC, SK, G2. Fnatic wasn't interested, right? Because they have Razork, and Rogue would be probably interested, but they cannot sign players yet. I'll also talk about that. So except for Fnatic, Mad Lions, Vitality, everyone was interested basically. So 7 teams in the LEC. So very big rookie prospect, right? Labrov also was pretty hyped. But Parus, the former BDS Academy support and now a player for Team BDS, was actually a first option for G2, this hyped rookie. But he could not sign with G2 because he had a clause in his contract where if he's still under contract, then he has priority for Team BDS, and I guess the player didn't mind because BDS still a really good team nowadays in the LEC, and BDS, I think it's a Swiss organization, and they since Paris is Turkish, they I think did some visa help for this player. So I think both parties are pretty much satisfied, but yeah, it's pretty interesting to know that it wasn't Labrov who was first choice, but actually it was Parus, but they couldn't secure Parus. So second choice is obviously Labrov, but I think G2 still pretty satisfied with this. This situation very, very interesting. I will make a separate video about this because there are many more interesting things. So you can look forward to that. But back to it again. If G2 wanted to get him, they would have to buy Parus out, And also a year ago or half a year ago, Fnatic was interested in Paris, and he was actually supposed to fight for the spot with Jun, but he refused and instead decided to stay in Team BDS Academy, and that's maybe for the best. We don't know how it would go in Fnatic, and you know, Jun maybe would beat him out of the spot, or we actually don't know, but maybe this is for the best. Next up, we have GX. Only one person confirmed so far, and that's Jackie's. I think GX is maybe the only team or one of the only teams that are doing tryouts in the LEC. There's a lot of ERL and also former LEC players as options for this team. There's a big chance that Patrick leaves, and they are interested in Yike. They're also interested in Mickey X. And we do not know what other ADCs are being tried out, but if I had to guess, probably Upset is very likely. Maybe other AD carries, I do not actually know. The only one that comes to mind is actually Upset. And then also another player that's in consideration is Spica. I do not know about Jankos, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jankos was also in consideration. I do not know. And as when it comes to Yike, Casey also is interested in Yike. Also, one thing I forgot to mention when it came to G2 is that, as you can see on the transfer hub on the rosters here, Hans Sama is not yet confirmed, although he's almost 100% likely to play for G2. However, and that's another thing, that it's not confirmed, but it might be that G2 was actually also hoping to get Calist, another very hype rookie. And I was also talking about this in my previous video, that I would actually keep Mickey, and instead of Hans, I would actually try to do a deal with KC and swap out Hans for Calist. But this is probably very, very tough, because Calist is the star player for KC, and the buyout would be really tough to buy. But I think G2 may have even asked KC what would be the buyout for Calist. And so we'll probably learn about this a lot more. But for now, that's pretty interesting. Hans Sama very likely to stay in G2. Okay. Next up, KC, K-Corp. Yike is a strong option for jungle. Jankos is also a strong option for jungle. We do not know who is number 1 priority, who is number 2 priority, but it's very likely that we'll see one of these players in KC, in Giant, maybe in Rogue. I'll talk about Rogue in a second. Calist is almost 100% locked. That's probably the 1%, 2% chance that he would go to G2 somehow, but it's very likely not going to happen. And Targamas is locked. We see it even here now. So maybe there was some news about it. I'm not yet sure. I'm not gonna click on it now because I kind of have it all set up right now. So KC already talked with Targamas some time ago and offered him the spot. So although Mickey is now on the market, KC will keep Targamas. So if Yike and Mickey want to go as a package deal, then maybe KC cannot get Yike and they will get Jankos. On the other hand, maybe Mickey and Yike don't want to play together. I do not know if they want to play together, if they don't want to play together, but it is still very, very interesting. Also, I heard that Mickey X is trying to get some players to be also on team with him, so I'm not sure if this is Yike. So I'm not sure if this is if I play here, I also want this player. Maybe it's some AD carry, maybe it's Upset, maybe Mickey wants to play with Upset. I do not know how they like each other. I do not know other AD carries that Mickey would like to play with. I know he played with Patrick, but Patrick is likely to leave, so I don't know what that means actually, but we'll probably find out what the other players are that Mickey wants to play with, or maybe we won't find out, maybe it's Jankos, I don't know. But I guess we'll just have to wait. There are some players he wants to play with. And then Closer, who's I still think currently in the KC under contract, or I don't know. Closer, the jungler of KC, is a potential fallback plan in case they do not secure Jankos, or maybe they have a third option, fourth option, I don't know how many, but Closer is their potential fallback in case off-season goes badly for them. Finally, the last team we will talk about, and then I have a couple news about some specific players. But the last team we'll talk about is Rogue. And only Larson is confirmed because this was like the first player locked in the whole league. Rogue got his contract is extended. So Rogue is trying to sell their LEC spot. And Falcons, a esports organization, they were interested in buying this deal, but it was blocked by Riot. And now I think it is Enigma Galaxy that is interested in buying the spot, but there are some issues right now, and I think it's being discussed. And until this deal is done, Rogue cannot do any moves in off season. And so Rogue is interested in a lot of players, also Mickey, Jankos, Yike, Photon, maybe Upset, all these very hype players that Giant X, KC are interested in. Rogue is also interested in, but so far they're not part of the offseason because they cannot actually do any deals. But if the deal manages to go through, they will have a lot of money. But the deal is not done yet. So we'll have to see how it goes. But if the deal goes through, we have a chance for another really strong team in Europe, which is only good news for European fans. So that's all for the teams. And now just to mention some news about specific players. So unfortunately, and this one hurts me a lot because I'm a big fan of this player, there are no LEC spots for Bo. So a bit of an L for our jungler in Europe, I guess, but maybe we'll see him in Americas, maybe we'll see him in some ERLs and see how that one goes. Upset is likely to be in LEC. I think a good news for our AD carry in Europe. We do not know if it's going to be Rogue or Giant X. Probably one of these two teams. Or maybe, if they change Noah in Fnatic, could also be him. So I think these other news are going to take a bit longer because until the dominoes fall into place, usually it takes some time till one player confirms something and then it can go from then on. That's about Upset. Nemesis is very unlikely to be in LEC. There was a small chance, but he is mostly confirmed to be playing in the Los Ratones, which is Cadrill's team, that he will be starting a streamer team next year. Also, for Berserker, there's no news so far, but he is likely to go to somewhere in Asia, whether that's LCK, LPL, or maybe some PCS. We do not know, but there's not many informations as those off seasons are still, only going to start. And we'll end this on the note of Perks. And this is a bit unfortunate, but Perks will most likely not get an LEC spot. I mean, this can be quite seen. This will be Humanoid in Fnatic and then in Heretics. I don't even think Perks would want to play here, even if he had the opportunity, but I do not know if he even has the opportunity. So that's about it. I'm really excited about these news, and also there are certain specific topics that I will make a separate video about, talking a bit more about it in depth, some bit interesting information. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe, hit the like, write some interesting comments if you want to discuss anything. What do you like about these videos? What do you don't like? I'm really, really interested in that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.